Good morning, sir.
How are you, Michael?
Look at us.
Look at us go, huh?
Back at it.
Wow,
Happy Sunday,
beautiful.
December 10th. How's that even possible?
Little no hissy fit zone
I,
coffee.
I need a little bit of corporate training. Oh, I've had a great, exhausting weekend. And so I'm on to my second cup of coffee and I need that extra large mug. So
Oh wow,
I just finished one. You might have to watch me prepare my next cup of coffee.
yeah.
Actually, you know what I'm going to do? That right in front of you. Put it on this. Get ready over here. Hey, so I've not, have we talked since the turkey jams? Have we done it? Oh, we did. Did we do a podcast since the turkey jam?
No, no.
Oh, we got a lot to talk about.
Well, I've watched a lot of the videos. It was awesome.
Yes. That it was. I had so many other things to talk about before I just realized we hadn't talked about that. My goodness.
There was a thing that I was watching, and it gave me the had like what do you call it?
Oh, goosebumps?
Yeah, because there was no they're doing Jake Isle's song, and there was two girls and a little boy that were on stage, and Nuno brought them over, and they were singing with him. It was
Yes.
awesome. It was awesome.
That's when I think all the guys on stage brought up whoever they had for family and kids, because Paula was holding what's Paul's son's name? 6 or 7 years old, sweet kid. He was up there in Paula's arms. So I think they all brought their kids up.
Huh.
It was, yeah, that was right towards the end. It was a lot of fun. You know, this is going to be a cover band because we went last year and it was a cover band. And first thing Nuno, they were a little late getting to stage, but the first thing Nuno says is, "Hey, we got a set of music for you. We have no business playing this. We've had one rehearsal." And of course, the musicianship, they just dive right in, and it was just amazing.
Yeah.
It was fun. There were some unusual songs that was like, I guess I was kind of fairly regularly surprised, like, wow, this is a cool song to do. And then towards the end, they really let it rip. They did Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf with Nuno and Maria doing the best. She's got a little bit of a rasp to her voice if she wants to hit it. And she did the female part of that song. It was amazing.
There was a guy that was sharing the microphone with her, and he was singing with her.
Yeah.
I think that's a boyfriend. I think he's a bass player that
who was on bass? Donovan was on bass, right? His nephew.
he wasn't playing bass, but he's a bass player.
Oh,
I think he's Maria's boyfriend.
well, could be. Where does she live? Is she over in Portugal?
He's in the Azores.
Oh, the Azores?
Yeah.
Hot water's ready.
Oh, boy.
So she's Louis' daughter or Robert?
Louis' daughter.
It was cool. And so I mean, my God, that was amazing. But then there was a little buzz going on. And of course, Kevin's playing drums for him, so that's half of Extreme right there. And you know they're on tour, so they're busy. But as they wrapped it up, it was probably 11:30 or 40, and he says, there was 1,000 people in the building, but by this time there was 300. And he's like, well, not yet, but he goes like, hang around for 15 minutes, something cool is going to happen. And he just walks off. They stripped the stage, and there was a rumor going around. Now there's 300 in front of the stage, which is nothing. It's small. And you're kind of expecting it, but then behind one of the speakers, Pat Badger walks out, and Gary Sharon's right behind him, and it's Extreme on stage at the Portuguese Club for 300 people.
That's awesome.
And he's like, Nuno told a really cool story. I'll send you a couple of it because I was 10 feet from the stage. And Gary's like, listen, we're rehearsing. We're going to London tomorrow. So we had to have a rehearsal. We just thought we'd rehearse with you. It was okay if we play some of the new songs and rehearse with you guys. Everyone's like, oh my goodness. Just,
Yeah, I
they
saw
played
that.
probably a half hour, 35 minutes. They ran through 4 of the new ones. And then they did the medley from the first album. And
And
so
by the
fun.
way, whenever we talk about K-Fig, you have to say to me, your cousin K-Fig was on the drums.
Your cousin K Fig. Either that or I get to say my drum teacher, K Fig.
I actually think that his grandmother and my grandmother, on my mother's side, are cousins.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they say that like I'm surprised. I guess I'm not surprised.
Also, one time I told him that, he goes, well, we're all cousins from that same island. I says, no, your grandmother's Figueredo, my grandmother's Figueredo, they're cousins. And my mother's middle name is Figueredo. So you and I are cousins. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. We're still cousins. Just keep playing the drums and say, hey, cousin, how are you?
So I would say your cousin K Fig or my drum teacher K Fig, one or the other.
Oh,
I like them both.
You can say my drum teacher, your cousin, K-Fig.
Ooh, that's a long run-on sentence. My drum teacher, comma, your cousin, comma, K Fig, dot, dot, dot.
Yeah, he's amazing, isn't he? Good drummer.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We walked out of there about 12:30 or 12:40 that night, completely fulfilled with live music.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was special. And thank you, because so as I've said several times in the podcast, but just briefly to emphasize the story, last year we saw Ringo and Paul McCartney and this Turkey Jam, and this was Lynn's favorite concert all year last year, with some significant contenders. And so I had to make this happen. So I saw it on Instagram, and a few weeks later, going to buy tickets. It sold out.
Sold out quickly, yeah.
As you know, so I reached out to you, thankfully, and you had it all set up through George, and the tickets were there.
Yeah, you don't have to
it was awesome.
I'm glad I could do it,
You saved my upcoming marriage.
Well, I hope you're always excited that I got the marriage.
I understand. I understand. I do. The gravity of the situation is not lost on me.
So I don't know if I told you about this or not. There's a podcast called Flagrant Podcast.
Flagrant.
Yeah, Andrew Schulz is the host.
What's his name?
Andrew Schulz. You know him, the comedian?
I don't know.
Oh my God. So it was him and then Joe Rogan and 3 other comedians. And they're smoking up all kinds of weed and stuff, and it goes on for a long, long time. It's amazing.
Maybe we should start doing it here at the No Hissy Fit Zone.
So Andrew Schulz, you should look him up, man, because out of all the comedians I've ever seen, he doesn't go out on stage with a routine that he has rehearsed or nothing. He just starts talking. He does a crowd, what do you call it? Crowd surf?
Crowd participation, just like talking. That's a whole separate skill, isn't it? There's a young kid who just burst on the scenes, Matt Rife. Do you know him?
No.
RIFE, and he just he's huge, and because of Instagram and quarantine, and now he's like selling places out, but all he does is kind of talk with the audience and make jokes as he goes, which is a whole separate skill altogether. You could do that. Well, you do that.
Andrew Schulz, I mean, he just starts talking to people, right? And he'll say, hey, what's the deal with you 3 guys? Where are you from?
Yeah.
And then he starts making fun of them. It has them laughing. But the person that laughs the most is him, because he actually has a blast laughing on stage, the comedian.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And that's a funny thing too, in terms of how much the comedian themselves laughs, because I think when you're doing that audience participation, there's a term for it, and you're laughing, it helps everybody else start to laugh. Conversely, I had breakfast with a friend of mine the other morning. I was talking about Nate Borghetti, and she didn't know him. So I said, I'll text you his name. And I said, I'm impressed with the guy. For number one, he's clean, which I think is harder to do and be funny. But the other funny thing about him is he keeps a straight face as he's doing, and he doesn't laugh at himself. And that adds to it for me.
I don't know if I told you, my friend Ron Hortman did a show with Bergassi. And then Bergassi endorsed him big time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You said that.
Yeah.
It's funny, the small little threads. I was at a convention in Omaha for my full-time job, and one of the speakers was a guy named Patrick. I've always called him Lencioni. He calls himself Lencioni, and he's written a bunch of books. He's a leadership guy and speaks. And one of his famous books was called The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. And it's a corporate leadership book, but it's written in a novel story form. And I really like this guy. And my GM of the company I run sales appointments for told me that Patrick Lencioni has a podcast. So I started listening to it, and not a lot, but once in a while. And in the podcast, somehow, just as an offshoot, he mentions his favorite comedian, Nate Bargatze. And so I tried to guess at the spelling and found him. And oh my goodness, it's terrific.
So in that podcast, the Fragrant podcast,
yeah,
they talked about this guy. And I don't remember what his name is, but this guy says that if people know or people recognize 1,500 people, and they have 500 acquaintances, 150 meaningful contacts, 50 friends, 15 good friends, and five loved ones. It's kind of a crazy. I don't know.
That's interesting. I like that.
But I blow that away because I have a lot more friends than that.
Not to mention cousins.
So there's a lot of friends that I think are really good friends, but they never said to me that I'm a friend. But I don't know. It doesn't matter to me.
It's a good question. Do they have to reciprocate that to really be a friend, or no? You don't care. I never talk to them. I don't even like them. I don't talk to them anyway. But they're my friend.
I have a new neighbor two doors away from me, and when all my neighbors know me and I know them, and they all know a lot of my jokes and stuff. So this guy's walking his dog, and so I went over to introduce myself and say hi. He says, "Oh, the dog doesn't like people. The dog doesn't like people." But the dog wasn't barking or nothing. It's him that doesn't like people. So I don't know his name, but I put him on the shit list already. Uh-oh.
That's funny.
What's going on over here? Oh, no.
What's going on?
I don't know.
I've been reading. I'm just going to keep going since it seems like we're still going.
Yeah.
Very dear friend of mine gave me this book. Actually, it was a gift for Lynn and I. The daily 25 devotions for Advent, as we're getting, I guess, in Advent leading up to Christmas. And I certainly have a faith about myself that I love, but I've never really, within that, embraced the concept of Advent. And so this has been a neat little way of, I guess the concept is, as we're getting close to Jesus's birth and Christmas. I heard some person's voice, but we're recording, so I'm just going to keep going. The Advent season is about kind of opening your heart. So I've been enjoying this, and it's been interesting to kind of be thinking about the concept of Advent.
You mean like open heart surgery or something?
No, no. Or maybe. You look very distracted. What's happening on the technology side of the No Hissy Bit Zone? You're in the booth.
I'm in the
Says we're recording. I'm just going to keep going. Oh, do you want some baseball news?
baseball.
We got big,
over.
We got big baseball news.
Huh?
Big baseball news.
It can't be. What the heck's going on over here?
Connected to Galaxy S22. Galaxy S22. Disconnected. Ready to pair.
Ready to pair.
Oh, this says we're recording, but some other, still says we're recording. I think we're good.
My effects thing isn't working.
Oh, you're trying to, I'll do that for you. All right, we'll get back to the baseball news. I have a book We've talked about this guy in the podcast
Yeah.
who has a podcast of his own. Do you remember Andy Andrews?
Yeah. We talked about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
We first got introduced to Andy Andrews on Tape of the Week, I think.
I know. But one time, we saw him live one time, or at least one time,
So good.
and he was so good. Yeah.
He on that stage with Polly, and they grew like crazy. But his background, I understood at the time, was he was a stand-up comedian because he brought so much humor to his stage presence, and he was so inspiring to us. And burned through those tapes. This is pre-CD. My goodness, we're dating ourselves. But he's become an author, and he's podcast, and he's very well established out there. Well, this is funny because I was flying 2 weeks ago, and that's a whole separate story. But man, Lynn and I went to Cabo for oh my goodness, so we'll get to that too. But I love to read when I'm on a plane. We had a lot of flights to get there. And I was listening to an Andy Andrews podcast, and one of his guests was on and talking about the life decisions he made. He was a young, successful dude. And he kind of threw it back on Andy, who was not expecting. He said, well, I read your book, The Traveler's Gift, and it really changed my life. And Andy's like, I had no idea you were going there. I'm like, well, I was intrigued, and I thought, why do I recognize that title? It was because I had it in my bookshelf the whole time. A friend of mine gave this to me, and a long time ago, but one of my beautiful keepsakes of this book is the bookmark I have for it is my dear friend's boarding pass with her name on it. So I'm excited about that. This book, it's called 7 Decisions That Determine Personal Success. Wow. And as you can see, I have like 5 pages left. This has been blowing me away to the point where as a speaker, I keep thinking about how can I incorporate this? I keep picturing myself presenting this on stage to groups, and I'm trying to kind of work around and through that. And I'm buying other copies of it to give to friends already. And man, it's a good one. It's an amazing, amazing book. And again, it's one of those books that'll help in our journey, but it's written kind of in a story form, and it's amazing.
So I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm thinking there's a problem. If your friend, if you took her boarding pass, that means that she got stuck over there. She didn't leave. What the heck?
I already know your next joke because you just triggered in your brain boarding pass flights, and I know exactly where you're going to go next. But I can't recommend this book enough. It's amazing. I'm actually buying it as a Christmas gift for some people, and so I had to talk about that. That's exciting. My daughter and I have continued our book/movie club. Our listeners and viewers recall that Jen and I read The Shining together separately, and then watched the movie together separately, and then discussed it. So we're on to our next book movie club.
I'm reading this one again.
What's that?
That's the book I'm reading.
You getting a call?
Oh, it's Skim Likely.
Put him on speaker.
Oh, it's Scam Likely.
Oh, even better.
So sometimes I answer the thing and I say, listen, the caller ID says Scam Likely. What's your scam today?
How likely are you to be scamming me?
Yeah, so that sometimes they think it's funny, but sometimes they don't. I say, okay, if you don't have a scam, then don't call me. This is a beautiful little book, isn't it?
What's it like? Hold on, let me see what you got. Looks like you got your own personal writing in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, T-Mobile.
It's mostly all my passwords for the whole thing that I do.
So maybe you shouldn't show it on screen like you just did.
Whoa.
So we did our second. Do you remember this movie, Misery, with James Caan and Kathy Bates?
No.
Oh my God. It was a movie that was captivated the country at the time, but it was decades ago, and I'm not even sure I knew it was a Stephen King book. So we're reading this one. I'm almost done, and we're going to watch that movie. I kind of wish, along the lines of the book is always better. I kind of wish I hadn't seen the movie as I'm reading the book, because I keep referencing in my mind pictures from the movie versus having formulated my own characters. But that's been fun too. So that's 3 books I'm doing. You want to talk some music? You want to talk some sports? Because I can go either direction.
I don't know. The Patriots won a game.
That's the one thing I wasn't going to talk about, but I was shocked.
I know.
I was New England Patriots schedule. Here you go.
So Matt, I don't think is Mac Jones still there or is not? You don't even know, huh?
I don't know.
He was a great quarterback. Now they had this other guy that was a quarterback that did a pretty good job.
Oh, really? They replaced him?
Yeah, so I don't know if he's still there. If he's
Is this like a 2001 Brady Bledsoe thing?
yeah, he might be working part time at Wendy's or something. I don't know.
That could be.
Or maybe he's still on the team. I have no idea.
So here's the challenge with my football viewership. I'm a baseball guy, so I'm doing baseball until the middle end of October because that's when the World Series was. In fact, Zach and I were on our golf trip October 30th, 31st, November 1st. We were watching the World Series. So baseball went into November. So by the time it's over, it's time to jump into the football season. We're at like week 8. I'm halfway done, and I still haven't really adopted it. And quite frankly, there's not a lot to be excited about in New England. And I guess that makes me a fair weather fan, but well, I don't know, whatever. However, baseball, off season, there's usually not much going on, but there is a crew of free agents and where they're going to sign. And the biggest prospect in baseball history just signed yesterday, Shohei Ohtani, who is a pitcher and a hitter. He's one of the best pitchers in the league and one of the best hitters in the league. It's just ridiculous. Who's been with the Angels for a few years as a free agent. Yesterday, he committed to the Los Angeles Dodgers, which was not a huge surprise. 10 years, $700 million. Largest contract in baseball history. It's insane. So that was a big one. Everyone's been waiting on that. And in other less important news, Juan Soto, who's one of the best batters in the game, went from the Padres to the Yankees. The Yankees opened up their bank account for him, and they also got Alex Verdugo from the Red Sox. So when you're in Red Sox Nation, it's a big faux pas to go from the Sox to the Yankees like Johnny Damon did. You're like hated for life. And Verdugo ended up there, who's a great hitter, outfielder. So Yankees are spending some money. They finished in 4th place, miserable, embarrassed. The only thing more miserable and more embarrassing was the Red Sox finished in 5th place behind them. And all the Red Sox, man, they need to make some moves. They are losing their committed fan base just because the ownership doesn't care. So they got some big stuff they have to do in the offseason. Even for me, the past few years, I've become a bigger baseball fan than I am a Red Sox fan. And it's because they just don't seem to care.
So you know, I know you love baseball. You know, one of my favorite baseball stories is Zig Ziglar was talking about this baseball team, and the coach was trying to talk to the guy in the outfield because he was messing up stuff. He says, "Listen, next inning, I'm going to go up there and play your position, because for some reason you're not doing it right. So I'm going to show you how to do it." So the coach goes back there and plays, right? And after the inning was over, he comes over and he says to the player that was having a problem, he says, "Listen, I don't know what you did in that area, but nobody can play over there anymore." In other words, he was trying to teach him how to do it, but he was worse than him. So he says, "I don't know what you did over there, but nobody can play in that place anymore in that position."
Zig. Oh my gosh. You know how fortunate you and I are to have seen Zig Ziglar live? Like we saw many times. Well, not many, but several times we saw Zig Ziglar live. That's very, I don't, I mean, probably a few 100,000 people could say that, but wow.
So I saw him one time at in Tampa.
Oh.
And had nothing to do with the business that we were in before, but and I got to talk to him, and I says, I've seen you on stage many times when during the he says, "Oh yeah, yeah." Says, and I told him the story about how I got to find out about him instead of listening to his cassettes.
Yeah.
Right.
Cassettes, yeah.
I was working this when I got my first job as a salesman selling Subarus.
Where was that?
In Marlboro, Mass.
Okay.
So then this one guy that was there was like a top salesman, But the way he dressed was funny. His suit never fit right. His tie was all crooked, and he looked like kind of goofy. His hair was like, just kind of goofy. But I just went to him and says, "Greg,"
Disheveled.
says, "What is it with you? How come you sell so many cars? And what's the squeak?" He goes, "Oh, Zig Ziglar." I says, "Zig what?" He goes, "Zig." I says, "What's a Zig?" He goes, "You don't know Zig?" I says, "No, what's a Zig?" He goes, "Come here." He goes to his car, and he gave me this thing of cassettes.
Oh, like the big plastic booklet where they're all in their places. Yeah. Remember those?
He said, "Put on your way. How long does it take you to get to work?" I says, "Oh, probably about 35 minutes." He goes, "Okay. Every morning when you come to work, you listen to a cassette, and then when you go home, you listen to a cassette, and do that every day for 30 days, and you'll find out what the Zig is." So now I'm talking to Zig, and the first thing I liked about Zig is he was very smart and good motivational type of speaker, but he was humorous. I mean, he had all kinds of stupid jokes
Oh my God.
so I liked. So I listened to him all the time, and it actually changed my life because I realized,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
And he did it with such humor. You and I used to laugh about one. We talked about the weight loss he went through. And for the redhead, he called his wife the redhead,
right.
and he said something about how he was was 238 pounds on purposely. And he says the reason I say that is I've never accidentally eaten anything. But yeah, the best, and it was timeless. I mean, he was huge in the '60s, '70s, '80s, and it's the information is timeless today.
Yeah.
I think I was thinking about some of our old podcasts, and um, I was actually in YouTube researching, trying to figure out a number. But I was also thinking about something I wanted to do with Zig's information as a speaker, and I think I talked about it on an old podcast. But how do you think this would work if I don't know about the advertising marketing, but playing audio clips of Zig in front of a group of people, snippets, and then having me just kind of go off on those and and I'm not sure if I can do audio or video or if I'm running into any kind of licensing problems with,
Yeah,
but
that'd be good.
I think it'd be really compelling, right?
I heard a thing yesterday. This guy, I guess somebody it was on the radio that I heard, but he says, "Well, say, hey, hon, I just got home and my wife left me a note that she's finally moved out and we're done. So just saying, I want to come over and see you and get that beautiful dress, my favorite dress, and we'll get together and we'll go out and have some fun. My wife is gone. She says she moved out. She can't live with me anymore, right?" So this goes on for a while. So it sounded like he was talking to his girlfriend or whatever.
All right.
But then he walked out of the room, and the wife was looking at the on a note that she left left. He said, "Hey, by the way, I can see your feet under the bed." So he wasn't talking to anybody. I just thought that was funny. Wow, beautiful.
That is funny. I had to ask I didn't have to, I had the opportunity to ask my friend Tom yesterday for some help. I was doing this little project at the house, replacing some fencing, and it was all prepared. New stuff was, but brackets are ready. I just needed one more person. My joke to Tom was, I need one more person to help me with this, but they need to be taller than 4'11" and a half, which speaks to the keeper because she was right. And it's just interesting for me, for men as a man, to ask for help is an interesting situation. And I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine who actually gave me the Advent book, Janice.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, but when you don't ask someone for help, you rob them of the blessing of helping you. And we all for the most part, want to help other people. And so I called my friend Tom, and he came over yesterday. I mean, it was wonderful. And we got this thing done less than an hour. And it went about as smoothly as it could have gone. In my mind, you kind of set it up to like, what's this going to look like? And it was incredible. But I was reminded, because I've been doing these things on Facebook and Instagram just about inspiration. And there was a podcast that we did. Apparently, I found it this morning, episode number 30, when I talked about I was forced into a situation where I had to ask for help and how uncomfortable it was. And the lesson it teaches us. And so one of the Facebook posts I'm making this week I'm going to reference this podcast in that episode and somehow include the link. They say like the link is included in my bio. I don't know what that means, but I'll figure it out. So we should probably expect viewership to go from like 100K this week to maybe 250.
Well, because of
Just
that,
throwing it out there.
because you're saying, that if you want to give me some advice, I should be listening and watching. So I'm ready for it. Anytime you're ready. I can't hear you.
I can't see you. It reminds me of my future so bright, I gotta wear shades.
See these Maui gems?
Oh,
They're my brothers.
really?
And when he passed away,
Oh, I love that.
I got a couple of things from him.
I love that.
Yeah.
Were they given to you? Were you like wrestling on the front lawn for them with your siblings, or what was that like?
Wasn't really sick, but my nieces and nephews were trying to grab some of the stuff that was supposed to be mine. And I said, hey, stop. I was around with my brother before you guys even were born.
Or you're right.
The stuff was mine.
That's how family works.
just because he didn't leave a note that's supposed to be mine, because he didn't know he was going to pass away that day. But I know that he wanted to leave.
Trust me, it's mine.
Yeah. Don't even mess with it.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Mr. Michael, we're probably getting to a point where we need to.
I just looked at that. Yeah, I've got. How's your day? I got a list of stuff today. Oh, that's not it. It's this side, but it helps me to have a list.
So,
and I'm looking forward to almost all of this.
So my son Eric is in Colombia.
Hmm.
He's going to go down for a week. He's already been there 2 weeks. He's still going to stay a little longer. But then on the 18th of this month, Eric, Terry, and I are going to go to Virginia to see my in-laws over there.
Nice.
And we're going to be there for 2 weeks. And I'm like, man, I don't want to stay in 2 weeks at somebody else's house.
In Virginia, huh?
Yeah, and the cold and all that stuff. That's baloney. I'm trying to clean it up. I was going to say that's bullshit, but I didn't say that. I said it's baloney.
No, you did say baloney. I heard it.
Yeah, see?
It's a family-friendly podcast. We got to, Jason hasn't been on since he got excommunicated. So there you go.
Oh, he's funny.
Can't believe I remembered his name.
So I have a guy that's going to be a guest pretty soon. He's a stuntman.
Stuntman.
Yeah, in the movies. Very interesting.
Wow.
Very interesting guy. When I met him, I started to him and I showed him my pride and joy and stuff, and we had a conversation. I said, "This guy's amazing." I said, "What do you do?" He says, "I'm a stuntman." I says, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." So he did a move or something like a backflip or something like that. I don't know. He says, "Yeah." I said, "Okay."
I would love to talk to this guy. I have a whole story about stuntman, the concept of being a stuntman and a possible direction of my life. And it's wow! I can't believe you just said that. That was really impactful. Okay, I'd love it.
I'm gonna have him pretty soon. Just probably for 10 minutes or something. I don't know. He's very interesting to listen to and
I love it.
Interesting to look at. I don't know, just a cool guy.
I would love that.
How's the weather up there?
It's warm. It's shocking. I mean, it's crazy because it's December 10th. First of all, how is it December 10th? Because I'm having trouble understanding like summer's over, let alone Halloween and Thanksgiving are behind. It's December 10th.
Yeah, I know. Huh?
So it's supposed to be wintertime, but it's 50 degrees today in Worcester.
Wow.
And it's going to be warmer than that tomorrow. And it's overcast. It's going to rain in the afternoon and then rain overnight and all day tomorrow. So on my list is getting in a nice long walk. That's going to have to happen before 2 p.m. But my first stop is Home Depot to get some gravel and concrete, finish up this fence thing. And but yeah, it's warm, shockingly warm, but no complaints, obviously. But at the same time, like, I don't know, planet-wise, it's supposed to be wintertime, right? And last year it was spring all winter, so I don't know. Weird.
So when I go to stores and stuff, there's a lot of people at stores that know me because of
imagine that
jokes. So this guy one time says, "Hey," I showed him my project. He goes, "You showed that to me before." Says, "Yeah, well, I've seen you before too, but I still talk to you."
I would have said one of my favorite trainers, I was in his audience, and he said, because I was in his training once in April, and I was back again 90 days later for the exact same training. right?
Yeah.
And he started by saying, we all have an unlimited capacity to forget. And it's so true. That's why Zig said motivation is like bathing. He said, you're talking about that motivation, same thing over and over again. And he says, well,
if you
it's
don't
like
bathe every
bathing.
day,
You need to do it every day.
if you don't bathe every day, you smell.
You smell. I think you can say stink. I think stink's a okay family friendly word. But we need it every day. We got to put good stuff in.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Happy Advent. Have an outstanding day. We're going to end this podcast on our terms.
So this is 67th.
So what often happens is I say, we're going to end this on our terms, and then another conversation takes place, and it gets ended on Zoom's terms.
I know, you know what? We complain about that sometimes, but I'm very fortunate that we can do this with Zoom.
I love it.
And they're not charging us any money.
True. It's a blessing. We're
Terry,
blessed.
Terry does podcasts that she does for her clients.
Getting shut off.
And she goes on for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But she pays a monthly fee to be able to do that.
And we don't.
We don't, because we could just do one after another and not pay for anything.
And we're about to get shut off.
Oh.
Have a great day, buddy.
You're the best, man.
Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.